But Hollywood's mad
Another-
rush
yeah,
to
it's a
kill off
trough.
the networks is cutting off their nose to spite their face.
Streaming is really killing the entertainment industry. I don't
In
know.
general, they
Yes.
approached this thing as so stupidly. Andres pointed out they made it basically a big format war when it shouldn't have been. And like we've been saying for a while now, instead of being a studio brand, it should have been more about extending your cable and television networks
That's it.
into a streaming format.
Take it on
and
your
then
phone. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I never thought that one day I would be crowing about the term physical media. I never thought that was going to be something that I would pressure people to think about. But
Well,
you have
we got
to
a problem there because DVD sales fell below $1 billion this last year.
Yeah.
And the
Well,
reason for that, I think,
it doesn't
is
help when
mainly-
you're not putting your TV shows on DVD, right?
Well, some things are, but here's the problem: is go find a DVD.
Yeah.
Go buy a Blu-ray right now. It'd probably take you 2 days to get one in the mail. That's the problem because most Walmarts hardly carry them unless you're in certain areas that actually had pretty good sales. Targets have shut them down. Best Buy doesn't have them anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody has physical media anymore. You have to go online and order it, basically.
Used bookstores.
That's, yeah, you got to either go to Barnes & Noble, used bookstore, or hope your Walmart actually has a selection more than an end cap. That's your where you're at. And the other problem is, guess what? People just don't have players. This is something I've learned recently. Because, when I've tried to lend people or gift people physical media, they're like, well, how do I play it? Well, don't you have a player? No. Well, do you have a PS3? Well, I got a PS4. Okay, well, then that's, some people have that, luckily enough. But otherwise, most of these people are completely unaware that they have the ability to play any of these things on their game systems.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're going to see a DVD or Blu-ray release of Born Again.
No,
You'll
that'd
be
be-
surprised, actually, because they did do the first 3 seasons, but...
I think they only did the first 2. I'm not sure they ever did season.
Well, Disney's
the
been
first
pretty
3
consistent
seasons.
on releasing like all the Star Wars and Marvel shows so far on disc.
Okay.
They have been doing that. I will. Give
Oh
them
yeah,
credit
because
on
I know that when Netflix did it, Netflix they only ever, certainly in Europe, they only got around to releasing the first 2 seasons.
Okay.
They never did the third season or any of the Punisher. I know you can get them on Blu-ray.
You're
but
right
these
about
are
Punisher, yeah.
like pirate releases, not
Yeah.
official
Yeah,
ones.
well, because Netflix is kind of hit and miss. They've now Apple and a few of the other companies, and this was a story I was going to bring up the other day if we had slow news day, but we didn't. And that is that Apple refuses and will never put any of their original content on physical media. And there was one, and they said that flat out. And there's even one of the Oscar nominees this year for Best Picture that will never get put on disc. And Megalopolis is only available outside the U.S. So we're hitting this point where, it's getting to where some things are not even getting released on physical media, not just streaming wise, but just in general. So it's going to be interesting in the next few years.
Apple is all about digital, but they're leaving money on the table. They should do a VHS release of Severance.
There you go.
For sure.
Yeah, but no, like DVD is kind of becoming
A dead media.
I don't want to say dead media because it's still pretty popular. It's popular enough. It's more popular than Blu-ray and 4K UHD. But
Yeah.
4K UHD is clearly becoming the more niche brand for like the old, like us, the Laserdisc collectors, the people who are really into movies. Blu-ray and DVD are kind of more of the standard. But in some cases, they don't even make a Blu-ray now. They're just making a DVD or a 4K only. I think Paramount was one of the companies that's been doing that for a few titles now.
I think it's time to bring back DivX. We need to bring back DivX so you can download a movie from your streaming service onto a blank disc. There you go.
God. Well, that's
I
not
know.
even how that worked. That's not even how that actually worked.
I know, but that's how they
that
kind
would've
of pitched
worked.
it. That's
I
kind of how they
know,
pitched
but-
it.
Okay, so for those who have no idea what the hell Scribe is talking about, he's not talking about the actual like DivX codec. He's talking
No.
about a format that came out to compete with DVD, and
Yes.
they were literally basically they were discs that you had to be connected to the internet to watch. I
Well,
know
so-
that doesn't even make sense.
No,
but
so
yeah.
no, the as I understood it, the idea was you go to the store, you buy a blank pack of discs, you put the disc in the machine, and then you dial into the service and you say, I want to buy Batman
that's not how it
Begins.
works.
Well, this is how I was told it would work. Let's settle down, Tom. I'm giving you my fictional version of how it would work now. So now you go to the store, you buy your blank disc, you put it in the machine, you say, I want to watch Batman Begins. And they say, okay, would you like to download this to your disc? And like, yes, you want to rent it or do you want to buy it? And you say, I want to rent. And so you pay $3 and you get the thing burned onto the disc and you can watch it 2 times before the disc locks up, and then it'll never play again unless you unlock it with a purchase, and then suddenly you have the disc, you can play it forever. But you can only play it in your machine. You can't take it to your friend's house. You might remember this from some Xbox type ideas and things, and PS2 ideas from the past. And then that disc is forever locked to your box, but you can watch it whenever you want. That was my understanding of how DivX was supposed to work back in the olden days.
The difference there wasn't this whole like you get to choose anything. You actually had to buy a disc at the store, and it was just whatever movie it was. You had to find that disc still, right? So if you wanted a copy of Austin Powers, you had to find Austin Powers, and then you put it in. And like you said, when you first would buy it, you get like a 48-hour rental free because you bought it in the store. You paid like $2-3 or whatever it was, or $5 or whatever it was. And then after 48 hours, it was no longer watchable. And you had to be connected to the internet out this whole time, because what that was doing was sending a signal from DivX to your player that you have the right to watch that movie. Because once that is up, then it's just gone. It's gone, like, how pay-per-view used to be. And yeah, you could buy it actually, they would lease it to you for an extended period of time. So you would never actually get to buy it, right? It was just basically you'd pay like $20 or $30 for an endless rental or whatever they would call it. And yeah, that's kind of how it worked. And then they had another version of it where they were biodegradable discs, where after a certain amount of time they would actually go bad.
like Mission Impossible missions. This movie will self-destruct in 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. But
some people would get them bad right out
the 30 years now or something. A disc does.
A real disc? Oh,
Yeah.
this I don't know where this thing came from.
Yeah.
There's been people pushing this idea that discs will go bad after an amount of time. No, they won't.
Okay.
No, not as long as they were produced correctly, unless they get disc rot,
that's the key.
they'll play forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
as far as we know, because I've got DVDs that are old.
Traveler, Tom.
I got DVDs that are older than my kid.
Okay.
That still play.
So you have
that's my point,
right? Is that your
No, I have a
3-year-old?
23-year-old or plus one, but yeah, like 24, but yeah.
Well, I take all my Blu-ray and DVD and burn them to the computer. I'd go ahead and just not burn them. What do you call it? Rip them.
Yeah, so do I.
On my server.
Lossless copies for your own digital.
Just for my home brew
Exactly.
server, if you will. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
as long as you keep them good, they're fine.
I think it's smart to keep your physical media, or at least a backup of your digital library. Apple's decision not to put things on any physical media means, we're at the mercy of the Apple servers for the rest of our days, that the material is going to be there, or they're not going to think some modern censorship is needed for some problematic movie in the future.
Well, it's funny.
In defense of Apple, Steve Jobs purposely did not license codecs for Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Because he predicted a long time ago that physical media was going to die. It was going to be dead.
Yeah. So did Bill Gates.
Yeah,
No, but generally he's correct. I mean, he's correct. Yeah. Where can you conveniently find physical media? I used to go into...
look at it, though. Apple putting their thumb on the scales to sort of make that be a prophecy that comes true.
Well, look at Best Buy though. Now look what they've done to themselves.
Well, there's no product there.
Exactly. You know what they are now? They're basically a fancy fucking U.S. cellular outlet, because they don't have anything anymore. You walk into one, they look deader than hell.
Yeah.
They have weird home products, but they had to, because Amazon was killing them.
Yeah.
In the same time though, like when they used to actually have physical media in the stores were always buzzing. Like you actually had to wait in line to check out and stuff.
I think the busiest part of Best Buy is the Geek Squad section.
And that's what I'm saying. That's all they are now. And even that, they're cutting a lot of that stuff out too.
Mm-hmm.
Because the system I'm on right now was actually, they told me when I got it, like, yeah, they're still doing the Geek Squad stuff, but in a year or so, it's not going to be available anymore.
Wow.
So I don't even know if they do all that stuff directly. I think they only do it in store now. They no longer do the home
Oh, that's right.
outside
Yeah,
of
that's
installations
what I
and stuff
mean.
like
People
that.
are
Yeah.
lined up over there in a queue with their tablets and their laptops.
Yeah, and that's about it. But on the note of disc rot, like this has been an ongoing developing story, and we actually talked to Spencer of that damned idealistic crusader who initially brought this story up, and now we have another big development. Turns out Warner Brothers, and this goes with the rights issue that we were just talking about, that's why I brought it up. Warner Brothers will replace some of these disc rot discs now that have been out there. You're not always going to get the same movie in return, it sounds like.
What?
Oh yeah. So for the reasons being, one, if they just don't have any because they're not manufactured anymore, and they're definitely not going to fire up, you know,
Burner.
the burner just for your Scooby-Doo fucking movie. But there's some of these discs they just don't have the rights for anymore, because Warner Brothers has never really taken anything out of print unless they lose the rights to it.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of especially in the early days of Blu-ray and DVD, since DVD was Warner Brothers was a leader in a lot of that stuff. They would help some of the other studios. So there was times where they were releasing stuff for other studios through their DVD and Blu-rays. So like they may not be able to replace them anymore.
So this disc rot, though, that you reference in this story, are you saying that there are people who bought a DVD in like 1992 and they're insisting that Warner Brothers replace that DVD 33 years later?
In 1992, I would call you a scientist that has a time
Yeah, you're a time
machine.
traveler. What the hell?
But
You found me out. Okay, 2002,
but no, seriously,
sorry.
there is. Okay, so for instance, one of the major ones has been there's a bunch of the Superman shows, whether it be Lois and Clark or the old classic George Reeves show. Well, if I could talk, that have been suffering from this because there's a specific plant. Now, what disc rot is that the glue they use doesn't seal right.
Okay.
And what it does is it just literally starts to get like a mold on it, and it makes it unreadable. Then it looks like cloudy, milky kind of on the bottom of your disc. And no matter what you do to wipe it off, it just won't come off. Well, that's because it's not on the disc itself. It's in the actual data. It's been rotted out. So anyhow, yeah. So some people are not getting the movie they sent in back. So this is becoming a problem
Hilarious.
now. But
I
yeah,
just
there's
wanna know
entire
how
seasons
often
and
that
shows
happens.
where there's like just a disc or two in there that are fucked up,
Yeah.
and you can't get them to play or anything.
But why send back a different movie? I mean, in other words, just say, you know what, we're going to just give you some money for this or a credit towards any other purchase. I'm not sending in
Or
the
let
Matrix
you
and
pick the
sending
movie
me
if they can't
Goonies.
give it to you. Yeah, like
Or have a list of movies that are available for
Exactly.
replacement or something, and those that are, and if it's not on this list, it's not available, something like that.
Yeah, or you can pick one of those and that's it. Yeah. Otherwise, I wouldn't send them anything anyway. I'd just be like, whatever, you send it to me. Like,
Yeah,
I bought your shit a long
or
time
just
ago.
go on eBay and buy it for $3. I mean, come on.
well, that's the part of the problem that people are running into is even if you buy brand new stock on some of these, you can't guarantee it's not going to be bad, because that's what Spencer did. Is he went and bought, I can't remember which season it was of the George Reeves Superman. He went and bought a new version of it, and it's the same problem in the same disc, because it's whoever manufactured these discs fucked them up.
Man, what a burden for Warner Brothers. Honestly, you imagine just having to deal with a few hundred people demanding that.
I
their
have
DVD
one of them so far that I know of. See, I haven't gone through all my discs to find out. I still have some of those George Reeves Superman still in plastic yet that I haven't even opened. But I know of National Lampoon's Vacation was one that I had disc rot happen to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I keep thinking. I think of that. That those fires of those studios, right? That lose like the original negatives of like what was that Lon Chaney movie that nobody's ever found again, like London at Midnight or something?
London After Midnight or whatever.
Yeah, London After Midnight. I think about that. I think about what would be the equivalent to Apple's servers, where everything disappears and it can never be recovered again because it was never stored on physical media. I just imagine, like abstractly, some event, some hack, some terrible thing happening. Not that I'm wishing it upon it, but I'm just imagining that if you set yourself up where you've pigeonholed and you've bottlenecked all of your media, all of your information into effectively one place that is vulnerable, because it's not in the physical realm. Something just has to go goofy. And then if it's all gone, like what was the point then?
Yeah.
What isn't that just shooting yourself in the foot? It's just I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that doesn't happen, but I can just imagine. Yeah.
Actually, like I now there was the Masters of the Universe thing, which is up for debate. Andre and I have talked to an individual who has seen some of the original, or at least film prints of the shows, but the rumor ran around for the longest time that somebody at, what was it, Hallmark or one of the other places where they scan these in, they destroyed the negatives afterwards.
Oh, jeez.
And then now, like Cannibal the Musical and some other movies, they don't have the film elements anymore, so all they have is the DV tapes and shit to work from. So there's a lot of these situations now where they're realizing, oh shit, we don't have all the original elements anymore to work from. And we're screwed, and we're stuck in this 480p kind of world. Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine a comedy thriller of a George Lucas type that his holiday special is only on the Apple servers. And so he launches an EMP to destroy the Apple servers.
Well, Lord knows.
I can
burn
imagine
the negative,
something else.
supposedly.
Where you basically start with like a pre-credit sequence of some asshole deciding, you know what, this is the year 1993. Things are now as advanced as they're going to be. We know that DVD is about to be released in the next few years. Here it's still not available to the public. So we're just going to scan what we have right now for the DVD format in 480p.
480.
There, boom, it's future-proof. Now burn the originals.
Yeah, we can get rid of that warehouse now. We can save ourselves much money.
That's what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the original negatives should be treated like evidence from a crime scene, where it's like, well, you know, the technology may not be around right now, but someday there may be DNA evidence that could solve this problem.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But
well, it's bad enough that we had, a lot of films that were just self-destructible, right? Like, because they were
they're made out of gasoline, so it's like, okay,
yeah. So you had that problem to begin with, and then you have like a whole era of television and stuff where Lord knows where a lot of that stuff is. And Paul will tell you how fun it is to try and catalog, an entire, because he did all the stuff
Yeah, there's channels on YouTube that talk about almost nothing but here's elements of lost media, like all these old Doctor Who shows that are lost because they were just taped over by BBC. They didn't think there'd be any use for them in the future.
Sure. Yep.
On and on.
Some
like
of those
that,
were accidentally erased, but
yeah. But to be fair, though, that wasn't.
They erased all their moon landings.
That wasn't specific. That wasn't specific to Doctor Who, though. That was other things. Like, for instance, the very first adaptation of Isaac Asimov's *The Caves of Steel*. That would be the beginning of his robots universe. It was filmed on the BBC. It's gone, lost. Only clips remain. And what NASA did, that's worse. And if there's ever conspiracy theory fodder, it's that. But yeah.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There, you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey, and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe, and join us.